Good afternoon, Wrestling Inc. It's me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am now every Tuesday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern, to record the news portion of the Wrestling Inc. Daily. It's our good friend, EJ Cameron. EJ, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Good to be back, man. It's feeling crazy. I already ate breakfast. I had lunch. I did things.
I know.
So it's a new time adjustment. How you been feeling with the time adjustment?
I'm great, man. I'm loving it. You know, I'm relaxing into it. I have a busy morning. I go take my dog out. I take Willow out for a walk, and then I come back. I do a little more work, and then we get to do this to wrap the day up. I mean, who would not want this schedule? This is pretty much the optimal schedule for me, EJ.
It is. It's perfect timing. I mean, and then right after you can get a drink and feel like, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Boom, doing it.
Well, that's probably pretty likely today. Hey, before we get into the news and the interviews and stuff here today, I got to publicly put you over, man. I saw the new Second City ETC review this past, was it Saturday night that we went? Sunday night?
Sunday, yeah.
Wow, time's a flat circle. It was Sunday night. Man, you're awesome. Great show. I encourage everybody to go check it out when it premieres later this week.
This Thursday. The official opening is this Thursday.
Man,
yeah, press night.
Wow. Yeah. If you guys are ever in Chicago, don't come find me. Go to Second City. Go find EJ on the ETC stage. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of laughs. You're a really, really funny individual, EJ. I really enjoyed that show.
I appreciate that, man.
Can I?
You got to be a part of the show. You became a running bit.
I did. So there's a part of the new Second City show. I don't want to give the whole thing away, but part of the show is inspired by audience response, and one of the actors was looking for a career that their character would have to play in the scene, and he looks at me and he points at me, and he's like, "My job is, what's your job?" And I was like, "Pro wrestling journalist." Big laugh. He was really, I think, confounded by that. I don't know that he'd ever been given that, right?
No, that was the first. He was like, "Oh, snap!" To the point he gets backstage and he was like, "Is that one of your friends?"
Yeah.
Pro wrestling journalist. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Nick."
Yeah. So part of the Second City show became about pro wrestling for a little bit there. So anyway, hey, we have fun. Great people here on the show. EJ's here, and like I said, you got to go check it out. What's the name of the show again? That's
the best decision you have ever made.
That's true. The best decision you'll have ever made was going to see this show. It's a great decision.
Right? It works.
Yeah, it works. It works very, very well. All right. Well, we got a great show for you here today. Later on, if you're listening to an audio form, you're going to hear my latest conversation with the one, the only 25-plus year veteran WWE referee, Jimmy Korderas, back in the house. It's all Greek to him. We're talking a lot of Crown Jewel, and then we wind up going down this little path about Plane Ride from Hell, right? The Dark Side of the Ring episode. You're familiar, I'm sure, EJ.
Yes, yeah. I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy was on that flight. Jimmy was sitting next to the emergency exit door when Brock Lesnar and Kurt Hennig flung into the wall, right? And so Jimmy in the audio is going to tell the story about what it was like to be on Plane Ride from Hell. And then, and this is already up on the site, we put it up earlier with the video, he's going to tell the real Plane Ride from Hell story, which is, in his opinion, the scarier WWE plane ride story than what we got on Vice TV.
I cannot wait. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. So it's already up in video form if you want to go check it out there. We'll have it here later on. We're going to dive in the mailbag later in the show. We're going to look at the WWE NXT 2.0 Halloween Havoc card, what match you guys are most excited about. Of course, the chat room is open here. Antonio Garcia, hello, is this on? Yeah, it's on. It's working. And from the thumbs up prediction, EJ is going into the Wrestling Inc. Hall of Fame. So wow, look, you're over.
I'll take it. Over like Rover.
Over like, yeah, totally. And you're Mick Foley red flannel here today on the show.
Yeah, with my Rock t-shirt on.
Wow, that is vintage.
Doing Rock and sock. Actually, my socks are New Day socks, so that's great. I'm really wrestled out today.
Well, my shirt says beer drinking champion of the world. So that's where I'm at right now.
I mean, that's fitting. That's fitting for you.
Thank you. A couple of gumball hits at that Second City show. All right. Hey, let's get to it. News you can use, news that will leave a bruise. We are going to talk about the Halloween Havoc card more in the mailbag, but we're going to start out with at WrestleVotes put this out earlier today. It was basically a tweet saying that tonight's NXT 2.0 expected to be the launching of the Bron Breakker era, and Tommaso Ciampa's NXT title reign may not be long for this world. Now, we're recording this only a couple hours before TakeOver. I mean, it would seem like not TakeOver, Halloween Havoc. It would seem like a foregone conclusion. But for those people that are listening tomorrow morning, hey, you probably saw Bron Breakker win the title last night is what it sounds like. How do you feel about them possibly taking the title off of Ciampa here so quickly after he won it?
I was expecting them to keep it on him a little bit longer, but maybe this was the plan the whole time for Bron Breakker to be made now. He's trending every week. Every time he's wrestling, he is trending on Twitter. Everybody's talking about him. Yeah. I think it's a good time to just pull the trigger and go. Everybody loves him. They're sticking with the name.
Hey,
so
we've
all accepted it, and I'm cool with the era. I think there's enough people to teach him along the way. He might be like a young John Cena-esque, but he has the intensity, or Brock Lesnar more so. So I'm flying around there. Young Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think it's time, and I wonder what happens to Ciampa after this, right? The brand is in desperate need of something that really feels new and different, right? Like we have the new color scheme, we have the new hip hop, theme song, but the same guy on top, right? The centerpiece is a guy from NXT that's synonymous with NXT 1.0, Tommaso Ciampa. Not that there's anything wrong with Ciampa. I'm a huge Ciampa fan, but if you're going to try to do a reboot and you're going to try to make this thing feel different, there's got to be somebody else on top to really freshen up that main event title picture. And I'm with you, man. I think Bron Breakker could be that guy. And I think it's really kind of cool too. And I think it was MSK. I saw an interview recently how they said it was actually it was cool that Bron Breakker was able to get over without the Steiner name, right? Like, we all know he's in the no, he's a Steiner. But the fact that like people that aren't in the no, that just looked at it and saw this guy are just like, hey, what a badass. I love this guy. Bron Breakker, give me more. I mean, because there's always kind of the knock when people come in as legacies. Oh, well, they're only over for this reason or that reason. Kind of telling about how good this guy could potentially be, that he's able to, get over, break out on his own without having to rely on that Steiner name, And
also, stylistically, his outfit looks like the new logo.
It's true.
I mean, hey, another good reason.
And maybe he's just wear a green screen singlet then. So as he's wrestling, the whole thing can constantly be changing colors. Like you could literally watch his Uncle Scott cut the numbers promo on his trunks.
Yes.
As he himself was cutting his own promo, right?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Hey, Scott Steiner owns a Shoney's down in Georgia.
I don't know. I don't think he does anymore.
Oh, he doesn't anymore?
No, I think because there was a hurricane a couple of years ago, I think that hit Georgia pretty bad. I think the Shoney's got hit, and I don't know that Scott owns that. But hey, by the way, here's your 30-second Scott Steiner Shoney's update. And I'm not totally positive that Shoney's is closed, but I have read a lot of news every day about pro wrestling for years, and I don't know that Scott Steiner Shoney's is still up and running. I think for some reason it's not. Hey, comment section, good use of your time. Go find out what's going on with Scott Steiner Shoney's. Bring it back to the chat room. Okay. So I think we're both agreed. Excited for Bron Breakker. I'm a little interested, on the flip of that, though, with Ciampa, do you keep him in NXT? Do you pair him off with somebody else? Do you talk about maybe going to Raw or SmackDown? Like, what would you like to see with Ciampa on the other side of this?
Here's what I would like. I would like him to stick around a little bit, work with Breakker a bit more, chasing the title. He loves Goldie. He's obsessed with it. Maybe he goes a bit more manic, psycho killer again. And I would say the best bet is SmackDown.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would crap the bed, clean that up a little bit if he got thrown over on SmackDown. This guy, if it's supposed to be developmental, and he's a multi-time champion, at this point, I think he's developed, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
I think Tommaso Ciampa is developed. Him on SmackDown, man, I agree. He could play with Roman and have a lot of fun. You're looking for fresh heels, wily, crafty, veteran that's got nothing to lose. I mean,
him and Sami Zayn can do something, anything, and
sure.
I'll be on board.
Sure. Hey, look, Samantha here. He could be Keith Bearcat Lee's new manager. Sure, that's a terrible idea.
No.
Terrible.
He would leave so fast.
So I guess we'll see what. But you're right. Like if not this, does he stick around? Does he see what AEW wants to offer a Tommaso Ciampa here? And whenever his contract comes up, year two, whoever whatever it may be, I could definitely see him 100% fitting into the AEW mold.
Oh yeah, he would fit in, but he'd also, I don't know. There's so much of that shifting over to AEW. Would he get lost in that shuffle?
Maybe, but like I don't know. He's got that look, type, background that those guys love, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I definitely could see a spot from over at AEW, but I also don't know when his contract is up. But it'll be very interesting, I guess, to see. Like Bron Breakker, we all know where Bron Breakker goes from here.
Yeah,
up,
all the way up,
all the way.
WrestleMania main event, baby. I see it. We all see it. It's there.
All the way. Yeah. Up. And also, by the way, thank you, Jason Pock, for reminding everybody, new season of Curse of Oak Island premieres a week from today. So there will be some NXT competition for me because I love my Oak Island, as you know, EJ. Anyway, Oak Island, Pokemon Go. All right, Wrestling Observer, still talking about NXT here. This got a ton of attention this afternoon. Over the past several weeks, many fans may have noticed that MSK have been getting booed by the NXT 2.0 audience. Have you noticed this, EJ, that MSK getting a flat to boo reaction from the fans?
Yeah, and it's weird. You want to hope that it's not why you think it is, but I don't know. Yeah, it is a weird response.
Yes, it's very odd, and it's resulted in them getting less TV time too. I've noticed. Like they're
great. They're exciting.
Nobody bridges NXT 1.0 to 2.0 better than MSK because they were like the cool hip act getting the rub from Dusty Classic and everything else, and like Hunter and Sean were running around like these guys the next best thing since sliced bread number 2, and thank you. And now, thank you. And now, as you're trying to bridge and you want to take what energy you have from that and like apply it to what you got going, it bums me out. So fans have presented many theories and ideas as to why the NXT Tag Champions have been getting booed despite being presented as baby faces. Now, one theory, at least, regarding Izzy's parents appears to be true, according to the Observer. Now, of course, Izzy, in the early years of NXT, was the Bayley super fan. She's showed up in media scrums at events. She's done some independent wrestling. And back in 2018, when she was 12 years old, she took on Effie, who we love, in a match. One spot blew up on Twitter at the time. It was when Effie chokeslammed Izzy. The spot had many in pro wrestling, from Chelsea Green to Lance Storm, denouncing the spot, discussing how dangerous it could have been for someone that young. And somebody else who denounced the spot, of course, was Carter, formerly Zachary Wentz. Now, allegedly, Izzy's parents are now leading an effort against Carter over the incident. The NXT audience is known to be a faithful group going back to the days of Full Sail. It's not uncommon to see some people attending multiple NXT shows over and over again. And Izzy's parents have allegedly convinced enough people, I've been told the number's about 20, to join them in going against MSK for Wentz's comment, denouncing the chokeslam Izzy took in 2018. And, of course, they're set to face Imperium tonight. I'd like to start, EJ, by saying Izzy's a 15-year-old girl, and I really don't want to spend too much time on this topic because it's hard enough to be a kid as it is, and it's even harder to go to school, and now everybody's talking about the thing that all the wrestling news sites are talking about, whatever. So I like Izzy. I don't really want to go too down this rabbit hole. I will also say I really have a lot of respect for MSK. I don't disagree with what Carter was saying, but it's nothing to ruin somebody's career over. So I feel for those guys, and I really hope cooler heads prevail. I don't want it to have to be where one of these two things has to get pulled apart. What a bad headline WWE bans Izzy and Co. from NXT tapings, right? You don't want that headline. Part of me thinks that, like, unfortunately, look, do you have to have, does Uncle Sean have to come out and talk to the crowd and be like, hey guys, we're trying to do a show. These are obvious, like, you love MSK. Why do this to MSK? They're great guys. And I don't really know how probable that is. The only real resolution I could think of here without having to like ban Izzy and her family or multiple groups of fans or create something like is I guess you just kind of move them to the main roster, right? I mean, you're not going to get 10,000 people every week to boo guys that are so obviously cool and beloved. I mean, look at Matt Riddle. They're like two Riddles, you know?
Yeah.
2 Riddles. God damn. Why are these not on the main roster already? Right.
You have to solve the riddle.
Yeah, exactly. Man, Riddle and MSK just print the money, you know? So that's, I mean, unfortunately, the only thing it's kind of akin to is like when TNA had the Asylum down in, was it Nashville every week they were doing it, or they had the Orlando? No, it was the Asylum in Nashville, I believe. And it was the same fans every week, and they started to kind of go into business for themselves and really kind of ruined a lot of moments, if I remember correctly, from that time period. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. Like you do. I mean, what would you do in a situation like this, I guess?
Definitely don't go out there and say, hey guys, cut it out, because that's going to make them boo even more. I think you judo the situation and you figure out how to make them heels and still be MSK.
Okay.
And lean into that. Like maybe say just exactly how it's like, hey guys, stop booing us. We're really cool, which will probably make people boo them even more. And they just crank that up to like New Day. Like, you remember how New Day came in, they were supposed to be really good guys and everybody hated them. So they just turned themselves up even more to be obnoxious to the point now we all love them. I think MSK might just have to do that, crank it up to where we hate them and then like, oh man, I really like them. I really like this. I'm being stupid. I really do like them.
I mean, if your audience, I mean, I guess, and like, again, we talk about how pro wrestling caters to like a real niche audience. We're talking about trying to cater a show to like 20 people right now. Let's be real. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you lean in? Right? Do you lean in? I don't know, man. Like, that seems like, it's just because like then when these people just start cheering you, like these people, I don't know, like anything just to ruin your livelihood and career. It's really messed up, man. It's really messed up.
Like, end of the day, stop being petty, but yeah. Or they just do the audio thing like they used to do for Cena. They just pump up crowd noise.
So Gary Lyles writes, has the Elite wrestled real children in years past, or is it strictly about to choke some on a kid? That's a great question. I will say I've talked to a handful of wrestlers who started training really, really young. Many of them come from Mexico, where in Mexico you start training really young. Like Rey Mysterio was probably training his whole life, you know? I'm trying to remember who exactly it was that was down there. I'd have to go back and look at all of my notes. But it was talking about how they were working really young, and then they were down there, and they were training. They wound up training at a school, and there was like a kids class. And I remember being like, how do you do a kids class? And he was like, it's a lot of like grappling, right? You know, it's like teaching kids the fundamentals of like, you know, they're not doing tope suicidas and like, so I think the issue here, and like, I love Effie and I don't really want to relitigate what happened here. I know that it was all very safe and everybody was fine, but like, it's a high impact move. And I think it is not out of bounds to say, hey, I don't know that a 12-year-old's body should be getting dropped from 5 feet in the air. You know, I don't personally have an issue with that, you know?
And if you're the parents, just be like, okay, cool. Well, it happened. Everybody just move on.
Yeah.
But alas.
So, all right. Anyway, Izzy, you're great. Our heat is not with you. So on Raw, Seth Rollins, he won a fatal 4-way ladder match to become the #1 contender to Big E's WWE Championship. This was really kind of the whole show. Like, it was the revamp. We got a new T-bar. We got a mean Keith Lee. But like, this was the whole show, was the main event, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, just about. They had all the vignettes. Shout out to Seth Rollins for doing this after doing a Hell in a Cell not too long ago. Like that
dude. And I see a lot of people on Twitter that are like, I can't tell if he's like, I think he's just really good at being a heel, because like there's a lot of people right now that really just don't like Rollins for whatever reason. He's he's obnoxious, whatever. He's a heel, right?
Yeah. And he dressed like Cruella DeVille. I love it.
You notice Becky was wearing like the same colors as Seth, that they both had the black and white?
Yes. We talked about this before. I love that. I love that they're in sync, but they're not like together or popping up together, but you can still see the parallels and see that. I think that small detail is why I like them even more.
Yeah, it's cool. And like, when they wind up in the same shot and you notice they're dressed the same, it's gonna be quite a moment. But I honestly hope that doesn't happen anytime soon. I'd rather these two stay separate. We already tried the route of them being together and felt weird, right?
Yeah, no, it's good. We're good on it. The only way I could see that working is if they're both champions and they're just laughing, cackling, walking in, and that's it.
And hey, I'm excited to see what Rollins and Big E put together here. Like that first real program as a champion really sets the tone. And like the Drew McIntyre stuff was good, but that wasn't like a pro. I mean, like there was a build, I guess. How many weeks could they coexist as a tag team? And then at the end of the day, they do a thumbs up. But now you got a real heel, right?
Yeah.
You're going to really, really be able to get people to sink in and tell a story. And I'm excited to see what Seth Rollins could do here with Big E, because the fans really want to like Big E.
Oh, man, they love him. And there's also, God, I don't know if you saw, they have this beautiful history that goes back to the first NXT. I believe Big E beat Seth Rollins for the championship, for the NXT championship years ago.
I think you're right, but does Vince think that even happened? I guess I don't know if we'd even go back to that.
But Big E posted the picture. And then Seth Rollins posted like an old picture doing a curb stomp to him on the steps. And I was like, oh, yeah, history. They're acknowledging it. They even did that, sorry to detour a little bit, when Rey Mysterio was like, eye for an eye, Seth. And I was like, oh, that did happen. He took his eye out 2 years ago today.
Yeah, he was going after them eyes for a while. He was just obsessed with eyes. It was crazy.
It was a wild time.
Yeah. So I'm okay. I thought the main event was great. I thought it was a really, really fun, more than solid main event. Good way to put, Rollins. I think, like I said, like I'm excited to see Rollins and Big E. And this is what Raw has been missing for a while, is everybody was just on SmackDown. Like Roman, Becky, Edge, Seth, everybody was going, Brock, everybody was on SmackDown. It felt so uneven. And now seeing Becky and Seth, back over on Raw and bringing some of that star power and veteran prowess, it's going to be really good for the brand. I was very impressed with what I got from Seth on Monday night.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it feels like a better balance between shows.
So we have a couple updates here before we get to Jimmy Korderas and then the mailbag. PW Insider saying there were some undrafted talents from the draft. We don't know, but that happened. So who are these? Which brands are these talents internally listed as? That's what we found out here today from PW Insider. Asuka staying on Raw. Bailey, I guess, still not assigned to a brand, but she's out injured. I don't think she'll be back till like March or April anyway. Brock, SmackDown. Dakota Kai, still in NXT. Elias, Raw. Eva Marie and Lacey, still not assigned to any brands. Lucha House Party, Raw. And these roster assignments are subject to change, obviously, but Slapjack, John Cena, Titus O'Neil, and Shane McMahon are still on the active roster, but do not make the cut here for being assigned to brands. So very weird. I mean, Eva's making a movie. I think Lacey is right. Saw it with the pregnancy. Bailey injured, so that makes sense. But why doesn't Titus and Slapjack get brands? What's going on, man?
I mean, Titus has been just an ambassador for now. He shows up every so often for a match here and there. But I was shocked to see that he is still on the active roster list, unless he's still doing main event. We need Slapjack. We miss Slap Tuck.
We need Slap Tuck. Absolutely. Bring back Tucker, pair him with Slapjack. Brock Lesnar staying on SmackDown to feud with Roman. I was a little surprised by because I thought that maybe they would split those two apart. But now that he's suspended from SmackDown. I guess the plan is just to have no Brock Lesnar until he comes back, and when he comes back, he's going to go back to SmackDown.
I guess, yeah, I thought the bit was that he can go anywhere he wanted to. I thought that was like a whole.
But internally, it seems like they're gearing him towards SmackDown. And then the last one that really kind of caught me off guard, and I guess we could talk about it more in the mailbag, but Elias being assigned to Raw. Now, something teased for Halloween Havoc tonight, the big debut of whoever this mystery man who's been shoveling dirt the past couple weeks. Elias was doing all these graveyard vignettes. I thought for sure that this might be him, but if he's, internally they're saying Raw, maybe we don't get Elias here tonight at TakeOver.
Probably not. I wasn't thinking Elias. I kind of forgot about him a little bit. So he was with what was our guy that we don't like? Riker.
Well, the whole Riker thing bombed Elias, but that's why I say, Elias is dead. He could be reborn in NXT and reestablish himself. I'm okay with that. But I don't know. All right, EJ. Well, thank you for joining me at Top Show Talk, all the news of the day. Thank you to Jimmy Korderas. Always great to have you on the show. Again, you go check out that interview in video form. And if you liked it here on the show, as part of the daily, go over to our iTunes page, the Wrestling Inc. Daily. 5-star ratings, comments, always appreciated. That stuff drives us up the charts, the chartable charts. Chartable equals monies. So please go leave an iTunes review. So today's poll question, like all of our poll questions, come from @WinkDaily, WINC Daily over on Twitter. The question is, what NXT Halloween Havoc match are you most excited for? The choices I gave you were Breakker Ciampa, MSK Imperium, which is going to be a spin the wheel, make the deal match, as is Gonzalez versus Rose, or is it going to be something else? With 72.5% of the vote, Breakker versus Ciampa blowing it out of the water. Do you have any disagreement? What do you think of the fact that it's so overwhelmingly Breakker Ciampa for the win?
That's what I was expecting, and I'm contrarian, so I voted for MSK versus Imperium. I like a good spin the wheel, make a deal gimmick.
Sure. I'm excited for that match just to see what happens with the fans. The fans have made themselves part of the product. The third man. Well, I guess the fourth. The third is the ref. And now they're women too. So fourth person in the room. Thank you. The other match that got a lot of write-ins here, I know, at least over on socials, the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship Triple Threat Scareway to Hell ladder match. Io and Zoe versus Indy and Persia versus Toxic Attraction. Yeah, I hope these women go out there and just throw it down. The women's division in WWE really needs a kick in the butt right now. The Queen's Crown tournament got like 18 minutes and change total for all the matches. It's time for the women of WWE, anywhere they are, NXT, Raw, somebody to just make a statement right now and really break out in a cool way with something fun. I do hope it is this, or Raquel Mandy at the moment tonight too.
Yeah, Io Shirai is going to jump off the top of a ladder and do something crazy. So please be safe, everyone.
Sure. And hey, Gary Lyle here saying maybe that hooded figure is Vince McMahon because he's buried a lot of people, I guess. But ching. Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps us up here today, EJ. I want to thank you for talking all the news of the day with me here today. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have Headlock Comics Michael Kingston on the show. Also, Brian Wool, once again, much like yourself, very busy comedian. Brian booked again. He's doing something with the Try Guys tomorrow. So on the show, we're going to have back Alfred Kunoa. We'll be back on the show here tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Always love Alfred on the show. So come on back here, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And the Wrestling Inc. Daily is, of course, brought to you by WrestlingInc.com. We're on all the socials. And the Wrestling Inc. podcast will be going live tonight after NXT, as it does all the big shows. EJ, what do you want to plug or promote to put over to wrap up the show here today?
Give me a follow on Twitter, EJ_Cam19. I'm always telling everybody, be nice. It's getting colder out. The holidays are coming. Start being nice now. Don't wait till a week before the holidays. Just get in a good spirit. Be nice. Tip people. Please tip people.
Tipping's important.
Tipping is important. Don't be that person. 20% at least. Tip.
Okay.
That's my tip.
I agree with EJ. The tip is the tip. So take the tip Give the tip. I am at Nick. I don't understand why you're laughing, EJ. I was just tipping people off to take the tip. Take the tip.
Yeah.
Give the tip. Take the tip. Give the tip. Whatever, All right. Hey, I am at Nick _Hausman over on Twitter. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to you tomorrow. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.